South Vietnam Vietnamese Navy.
Và Hội Công quân Ontario Quân lực Nam Cộng Hòa ông Lưu Đức Phụng.
Mr. Phu Lưu South Vietnam Air Force.
Hội Thủy quân lục chiến Việt Nam Cộng hòa Ontario ông Phạm Công.
Mr. Phan Công. Yes, South Vietnam Marine.
Hội Cảnh sát Quốc gia Việt Nam Cộng hòa Ontario ông Đoàn Chí Dũng.
Mr. Dũng Đoàn, Military Police.
Hội Việt Cộng quân Việt Nam Cộng hòa Ontario chiến hữu Lưu Tuyết.
Mr. Thiên Lưu, South Vietnam Ranger.
Và sau đây xin nhường lại video cho TP làm MC điều khiển chương trình ngày hôm nay.
Vâng, thì xin cảm ơn chú Thiệu. And now I would like to call the co-organizers of today's event, Mr. Minh Dong, President of Vietnamese Veterans Association of Ontario, and Mr. James Nguyen, President of Saigon Park, Misissauga, upon the stage for their opening remarks. Thank you.
Kính thưa toàn thể quý vị đồng hương, các cấp chính quyền sở tại, quý vị lãnh đạo tinh thần và các đoàn thể hội đoàn người Việt quốc gia. Hàng năm vào giữa tháng 4, các cộng đồng người Việt quốc gia trên toàn thế giới đều chuẩn bị tổ chức lễ thượng kỳ để tưởng niệm các chiến sĩ và đồng bào đã hy sinh và chính nghĩa tự do. Đặc biệt năm nay, Hội cựu quân nhân quân lực Việt Nam Cộng hòa đã phối hợp với Sài Gòn Park, Hội Canada long trọng tổ chức tưởng niệm quốc hận 30 tháng 4. Sự ý nghĩa quý vị hôm nay đã nói lên được lòng yêu nước, yêu quê hương, yêu tổ quốc, nói lên được sự đoàn kết của cộng đồng người Việt quốc gia tại hải ngoại, cùng một lòng chiến đấu trong một nước Việt Nam không mất bởi công cùng cộng sản. Và xin quý vị hãy cùng chúng tôi dành một phút tưởng niệm để đồng bào và các sĩ đã hy sinh vì lý tưởng tự do. Chúng tôi cũng xin đại diện ban tổ chức chân thành cảm tạ bà thị trưởng Misissauga đã cho phép chúng tôi tổ chức lễ tưởng kỳ Việt Nam Cộng hòa đầy ý nghĩa này. Trân trọng kính chào quý vị.
At this time, I would like to say a few words just to translate a little bit in English for some of our non-Vietnamese. Quý vị, cơ chế nói chút tiếng Anh để cho thầy mình. Dear all local officials, Madam Mayor, Councilor Bradford, MP Pizarro, and MP Ranking Valdez. And thank you everyone for gracing us with your presence on this very significant day. The Vietnam Veterans Association of Ontario have been doing flag raisings for the last 30 plus years. And this year we are so honored to have 4 events. First, Misissauga. Tomorrow we will be doing it at Queen's Park, the official representative of the province of Ontario. And then next Saturday we will be doing it in the city of Brampton. And then the Sunday thereafter, it will be the first time ever that we will be doing at the city of Vaughan. It's very important that we do it at the city of Vaughan. As most of you know, in September they fly the red flag with the yellow star. That's mine and TT's city now. It's an insult to us, but we will deal with that matter later on. So anyways, on behalf of the Vietnam Veterans Association of Ontario, Saigon Park, and Voice Canada, we thank you, all of you, for being here. I just want to say something very special to my very good friend, Ronnie Crombie, today. Mayor Crombie, you have been with us since, 2014? After the late Mayor Hazel McCallum stepped down in 2014, you took the next step and ran. There were many people who said that you couldn't fill the late Mayor's shoes, and we all know the matriarch of our beloved city. No one could replace her, but I think after a decade in government in Misissauga, you exceeded every expectation. And so funny, your former Councilor Brad, you guys are best friends now, and that's how city politics would be. I'm a resident of Vaughan now, as most of you know, but I will always call Mississauga my home. How can you not call it your home when you lived here for 30 years? I went to high school here, I went to university here, I belong to a church here, but now I'm in Vaughan. But Gwen at the end made me the president of Saigon Park, so now I have to come back to Mississauga. Thank you, Gwen. I don't know what your journey is going to be in the next few years, but I hope the best for all of you. And thank you, Ruby, thank you, Brad, thank you, Rankin, for gracing us with your presence. And now I'll give the mic back to TT.
And now I would like to welcome my favorite mayor. Long people, please, this is a secret. Please don't tell Mayor Jaduka this, okay? So please, everyone, please give a big round of applause for our dear Madam Mayor, Bonnie Crombie. Xin lời quý vị trong tràng pháo tay cho người thị trưởng quý mến của chúng ta và Bonnie Crombie.
Wow, thank you, Titi, thank you. Xin chào quý vị, how is everyone today? Yeah, welcome back home, welcome back to Misissauga. I'm so honored to be joining all of you today, and a big thank you to everyone in the community. I know you're going to Queen's Park, I know you're going to Brampton, I know you're going to Vaughan, but the best and the biggest is always here in Mississauga! Because we were first. We were the first to raise the freedom flag, and let's never forget that. We honored you, and whenever I get an appointment with someone who tries to tell me I shouldn't be doing that, I said, sorry, I can't be with you, I'm busy raising the freedom flag. Yes! So just wanted to thank everyone who came out to help us celebrate today the Vietnamese heritage and freedom flag here. We've already acknowledged that my Councilor Brad Butt is with me, and I'm so pleased. He's such a great member of the team. We work so well together. We have some fantastic new councillors, and he's one of them, and from the Board of Trade and previously experienced in politics, so we're very pleased Brad has joined our new team. And I see representatives here, but also just walked in is Sharif Sabawe from MPP Aaron Mills. And Sharif, if you could just step and give a wave, he's signing the guest book. There he is. And you already know that actually three of us that were in Mississauga Streetsville, myself and Brad, and now Richie Valdez, our MP in Mississauga Streetsville, is here with us too, so we're very pleased that she'll be coming up to speak with you. Also want to recognize and give great thanks to the Veterans Association of Ontario and thank them for always taking part in this flag raising, from Mr. Min Dong, Mr. Quang Do, Mr. Quang Win, and Ms. Hien Vo. So let's say thank you to them, and thank you to everyone from the Vietnamese community who is here with us today. You know, as mayor of this great city, I'm always so proud that so many Vietnamese Canadians call Mississauga your home, because you contribute so much to our city, to the cultural fabric, you enrich us, to the business community, but you always find ways to give back. You know, whether it's to the food bank or sponsoring new refugees like the Syrian refugees or the Ukrainian refugees, you always give back, you open your arms, because you were welcomed here in Canada, and you see it as your responsibility now to welcome other new refugees. And boy, this really pulls at my heartstrings. You are some of the best, compassionate, most generous people. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So every year we commemorate Vietnamese refugees and their acceptance in Canada after the fall of Saigon, of course, April 30th, 1975. None of us will ever forget, right? This day serves as a reminder for many individuals and families and future generations about where they came from and the sacrifices that were made and the freedom that you fought for. It also reminds us as Canadians what we stand for here in Mississauga, here in Ontario, and here in Canada, and why we chose Canada. So this day may not be forgotten, ever, and may we never lose sight of the sacrifices that were made and the lives that were lost so that you could come. For many in the Vietnamese community, this yellow flag with the 3 red stripes represents hope. It represents liberty. It represents democracy and a common value that so many Vietnamese Canadians share. And we share those values together, the Vietnamese Canadians and Canadians generally. The flag is a symbol of community, and it reflects the strong will and the spirit of the Vietnamese people. And may this flag continue to symbolize heritage and freedom. For nearly a decade, from 1975 to 1982, more than 1 million Vietnamese refugees left to escape after the fall of the Republic of Vietnam. Many didn't survive the passage and lost their lives in this ultimate quest for freedom. According to the Red Cross, more than 120,000 Vietnamese refugees were welcomed into Canada, making it Canada's most significant humanitarian undertaking at the time. Many Vietnamese Canadians settled right here in Mississauga, learning to adapt to a new country and its people, discovering a new way of life, a new home, and a new community, meeting new people, and then ultimately raising their families. I'm sure many of you missed the Republic of Vietnam very deeply, the people, the families that you left behind, the culture, and the many traditions that you had. Today in Mississauga, we're home to more than 15,000 Vietnamese Canadians, Canada's 5th largest population of Vietnamese immigrants. And we're very grateful and appreciative of all the contributions that the Vietnamese people make to our city. The name Saigon represents the values, democracy, freedom, and harmony to Vietnamese Canadians who sought refuge here in Canada. And last year was such an exciting year, wasn't it? We finally officially opened Saigon Park, our national landmark. It recognizes Mississauga's friendship with the Vietnamese, and I remember what a special and hot day that it was. And we've also established a monument at the Burnham Thorpe Library, which the community fundraised for, and it also remembers the Vietnamese boat people. The Vietnamese community has been welcomed to Mississauga for 50 years, as old as Mississauga itself. Next year, we turn 50, let's remember. And you have left an indelible place in our hearts and in our city and the very cultural fabric. So I will always want to be here to mark this very special day with you, and that may freedom and democracy continue to reign, and may we never lose sight of these very cherished values. Thank you for making Mississauga proud and for making it your home, comfort, and thank you.
kính thưa toàn thể đồng bào, có một sự kiện ngoài chương trình mà đồng bào có thấy không? Đó là bà thị trưởng đã tự nguyện đi ra kéo cờ trong ngày hôm nay. Đó là một sự vinh dự cho cộng đồng chúng ta. Chúng ta cần phải làm hỗ trợ để cảm ơn bà thị trưởng.
Mayor, we were told by the veterans and the senior down here, they were very touched with the image of you volunteering, helping one of the veterans to raise a flag today. And it was beyond our expectation, and we were honored.
Một lần nữa cho một tràng pháo tay cho Thị trưởng. Cảm ơn cái lòng thành của bạn.
Thank you so much. Vâng, chào cảm ơn chú Thị. The next dignitary to honor with her present is MP Becky Valdez, Member of Parliament representing Street Bills Riding. Và sau đây xin quý mời dân biểu liên bang cô Becky Valdez ở khu vực Street Bills sẽ có một vài lời quý vị, và xin mời quý vị trong tràng pháo tay. Xin cảm ơn.
Xin chào. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much to the Vietnamese Veteran Association of Ontario for organizing today's Journey to Freedom flag raising flag ceremony. Madam Mayor, MPP Sharice Sabawi, MPP Rudy Pizzetto, Councillor Brad Butt, I'm honored to join all of you to be here today. This is an important day and a time period for the Vietnamese community and for Canada. And I am serving on the Veterans Committee, so I really want to take the time to say thank you to all the veterans who are here, and thank you for your bravery. It was very moving to be part of this earlier flag raising ceremony. The story of the Vietnamese people who fled Vietnam by boat and through other means is a story of tenacity and searching for a safe haven where freedom would be provided. This includes, Madam Mayor mentioned 120,000 of you who came here, and that includes my sister-in-law and her grandmother and her entire family who came here. And her grandmother recently passed, and I just want to share a beautiful story. Before they left Vietnam, she wanted to make sure that her life savings were going to make it to Canada. So she actually took the time to hand stitch their money in all these little pockets and all the clothes that they wore to come here. So that when they were stopped by pirates who shook them up to steal from them all of their savings, they still were able to come to Canada with their life savings. So I just wanted to honor my sister-in-law's mom for her incredible bravery when she came to Canada. As Canadians, we are very proud and so lucky to have the Vietnamese community in an integral part of our country's social fabric, as Madam Mayor said. You all contribute in extremely different ways in Canada, and we support everyone around you. Growing up, when I was getting my degree at the University of Windsor, I was alone for the first time, away from my parents, away from my family, and many friends from the Vietnamese community embraced me, including the Vietnamese Student Association, and they adopted me. I became really great friends with them. They taught me all about your culture. They even taught me how to sing karaoke in Vietnamese. It was quite interesting. And I heard many of their stories also when they came here to Canada. And that is why it's very emotional, because I'm remembering all of their incredible stories. In Canada, we are proud of the fact that we have many citizens from various corners of this world who can come together and live here, living side by side, interacting with one another, and most importantly, learning from all of our ethnic backgrounds and all of our shared principles which we share. Canada will always be a country that embraces those who are looking for new and better opportunities in life, and I'm certainly one of them as well, being an immigrant from the Philippines. When we see a community going through hardship and seeking refuge from their homeland, Canada will always be there to support the global citizens of that world, whether it be the Vietnamese community or other communities like the Ukrainians or different refugees from Afghanistan. Wherever you may be, Canada is your home. So I just want to say thank you. I'm so incredibly grateful to have this opportunity to be in front of all of you with this entire Vietnamese diaspora. Thank you for choosing Canada to be your home.
You have a very special place and role that you play in Canada. Thank you for your contributions.
And please always know Canada will be a place that you can call home. Ganon Nui Nui.
Thank you so much for such an emotional speech. Last but not least, please welcome MPP Rudy Pizzetto and MPP Sharif Shabawi up on stage.
Xin và sau đây xin mời quý vị trong một tràng pháo tay để đón chào dân biểu tỉnh ta
MPP ông Rudy Pizzetto và
dân biểu tỉnh ta
ông Sharif Shabawi xin cảm ơn quý vị.
Good afternoon, everyone. What an honor to be here today at the flag raising.